on Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. Our focus remains on the fury over the Salem suicide that is still simmering after the family alleged viewers foul play by the school and pointed out several discrepancies. The Madras High Court today has ordered a second autopsy. It has also lashed out at the DMK Sarkar for failing to preempt and to prevent the righteous mob, which set ablaze school and even police bus. So school buses and police vans that came under direct attack. So far, 278 people have been arrested for the violence, while a CB-CID probe has now been ordered. Now, the family of the minor claims that there is a cover-up taking place. Here, the mother on Times Now alleging that the school has hushed up several other deaths in their campus with bribe. A serious charge being made by the family. The school on their part has now released a video by an accused secretary claiming that the girl was distressed after a call from her mother. Listen in to this war of versions of what led to the death.
எனக்கு ஃபோன் வருது 6:30 மணிக்கு ஃபோன் அடிக்கிறாங்க. உங்க பாப்பா உயிரோட தான் இருக்கறா, வாங்க கள்ளக்குறிச்சி ஹாஸ்பிடலுக்குன்னு. திரும்ப நாங்க half an hour ஆவலங்க ஃபோன் அடிச்சு உங்க பொண்ணு செத்துடுச்சு உயிரோட இருக்குன்னு சொன்ன ஒரு பொண்ணு அரை மணி நேரத்திலேயே உங்க பொண்ணு செத்துருச்சுன்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்கங்க. அடுத்து நாங்க கள்ளக்குறிச்சிக்கு போனோம். கள்ளக்குறிச்சி போய் டாக்டரை பார்க்கக்குள்ள உங்க பொண்ணு செத்துதாமா வந்துச்சுன்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்கங்க. ஸ்கூல்ல இதோட ஏழாவது கொலைன்னு 7 கொலையும் பண்ணிட்டு ஒவ்வொருத்தவங்களுக்கும் அவங்க பணத்தால் அடிச்சு மறைச்சு திரும்ப ஸ்கூல் நிர்வாகத்தை நடத்திக்கிட்டே வராங்க.
நிறைய தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். இதுக்கு பள்ளிக்கும் இதுக்கும் எந்த சம்பந்தம் இல்லைங்கிறது நீங்க தெளிவா புரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். இதை பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கிற அத்தனை பேரும் எங்களுக்கு பார்த்துட்டு இருக்க மாணவர்கள், பொதுமக்கள், எங்களுக்கு பள்ளி படிச்சு முடிச்சுட்டு போன மத்த எல்லா ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸும் சரி இதை சப்போர்ட் பண்ணி இதை ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க. இதை எங்களுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுங்க. பொய்யான தகவலை ஈஸியா எல்லாருக்கும் ரீச் ஆகிற மாதிரி செஞ்ச அத்தனை பேருமே.
Well, we've been reporting non-stop from the site where this unfortunate incident took place. My colleague sending us this report from the site of the incident. Take a look.
After the death of class 12 girl, there were protests across Kallakurichi and the protests turned violent on Sunday. Now, this is the visual of the very school where the protest had taken the violent turn on Sunday. In fact, several people who were antisocial elements and miscreants ransacked the whole building, set the building on fire, destroyed the furnitures. In fact, we could see that many of the policemen, though they were deployed, they could not control the crowd. They were in fact uncontrollable. They were pelting stones on the police personnel. Nearly 52 police personnel were injured during this violent protest. And now we can see that MK Stalin, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, also in fact assured action, and he had told that those who are guilty will be in fact booked. Now we can understand that the school principal, school secretary, correspondent and couple of teachers have been arrested. Nearly 200 in fact rioters have been arrested right now, and now we can see that in fact the case of the girl had come before Madras High Court. The family had been seeking CB-CID investigation, and now in fact yesterday DGP had ordered the transfer of the case to CB-CID, and now the Madras High Court orders a re-postmortem and has appointed a group of doctors. Now the postmortem will be videographed, and the court also directs the police to constitute a special team to identify those who provoked the violence on Sunday, and the court has directed Tamil Nadu government to in fact take a stringent action against all the elements who were indulged in this violence.
All right, getting in news now that the Madras High Court has recommended a probe and Tamil Nadu Education Minister has assured action. Now remember, with the Madras High Court's observation, now development has taken place wherein the Tamil Nadu Education Minister has assured action. This after the Chief Minister's assurance. The Tamil Nadu Education Minister says will form panel to probe the case. Let me go across to Prapanch, my colleague, joining us with more details. Prapanch, you've been tracking each and every angle to the story, from what the family is claiming to what has been said by the Madras High Court today, and how an re-autopsy will be done in the case. So important details coming to light, but this is a reaction coming in from the Tamil Nadu Education Minister now.
Now, yes, we spoke to the minister himself, and he said that as soon as they got the information about this death, they immediately went and sought the details. CEO had given the details, and that was forwarded to collector and subsequently the police and RDO. And subsequently, they were also following the case. And since it was the case was in the High Court, they were waiting for an orders. Now, we also questioned about was there any security labs, was there any intelligence labs? Could the government not anticipate this particular protest? He said that just because they had the intelligence input, they were the protest was peaceful for past 4 days. However, he said that he denied that there is any lapse in the intelligence, and said that police had been working efficiently, and because of that they had controlled the protest was peaceful for past 4 days. However, he has said that now on the Sunday, whoever were indulged in this particular violent protest, they would be arrested and the action would be taken against them.
Well, that was the promise made by the Chief Minister as well, but this is what his Education Minister has to say. Listen in.
Today, the Honorable Court has given a verdict for us also. So, based on the verdict, as our Honorable Chief Minister said, we will form a committee.
Prapanch continues to stay on with us. Prapanch, so is it that the government in Tamil Nadu was perhaps waiting for what the court had to say is when they would go down to taking some strict action, forming a committee, a panel, whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this?
Now, in fact, what the minister said was the same. He said that since they had approached the court, they were waiting for the orders from the court. Meanwhile, the minister also said that they were giving protection to the protesters. In fact, the protest was peaceful all along. It was done by the family members and the relatives and the parents initially. However, the protest took a violent turn when some antisocial elements and miscreants had entered the protest on the last day, on in fact Sunday, wherein which the family said that they were not involved in that particular day. However, it was taken over by other elements, anti-social elements, and they in fact turned the protest into violence.
We are being joined by Mr. Priyank Kanungo, the NCPCR chief, also on the phone line. Mr. Kanungo, you know, we are going to take this up from where you'd left in the Lavanya case. Now, you'd taken up suo motu cognizance. You'd in fact also send out a team that was personally monitoring the situation, the case on ground. Are we expecting any kind of action on part of the NCPCR in this particular case as well? Seem to have lost that line with Priyank, but we will go across to him in just a bit, as this is a very, very important story, viewers, and investigations are currently underway. Now, remember, as far as the Madras High Court is concerned, the court has also slammed the state for the intel failure, as close to 2,000 protesters descended and indulged in violence. It's not just ordered a second autopsy, but also demanded a status report by 29th of July. The Chief Minister also has assured that the guilty will be punished. Apart from that, the opposition has also blamed Stalin Sarkar for a complete failure in law and order machinery. Those reactions up next. Listen in.
மனவருத்தம் ஏற்படுத்தும் வகையில் கள்ளக்குறிச்சி நடந்த சம்பவங்கள் அமைந்துள்ளன. கல்வி நிலையங்கள் ஒவ்வொரு பிள்ளைகளையும் தங்களது சொந்த பிள்ளைகளாக நினைத்து அவர்களை பயிற்றுவிக்க வேண்டும். மாறாக நடக்கும் எந்த செயல்களாக இருந்தாலும் அவர்கள் சட்டத்தின் முன் நிறுத்தப்பட்டு தண்டிக்கப்படுவார்கள் என எச்சரிக்கிறேன். இந்த சோகமான சூழலை பயன்படுத்தி கொண்டு சிலர் சேர்ந்து சட்டவிரோதமாக நடந்து கொண்டுள்ளார்கள். வன்முறைகள் என்பது வளர்ச்சிக்கு எதிரானவை என்பதை அவர்கள் உணர வேண்டும்.
இந்த சம்பவம் 13ஆம் தேதியே நடந்துவிட்டது. இந்த 13ஆம் தேதி நடைபெற்று 17ஆம் தேதி தான் இந்த வன்முறைகள்லாம் நடந்திருக்கின்றன. உளவுத்துறை இந்த 3 நாட்களில் இந்த அரசு மெத்தன போக்கின் காரணமாக, அலட்சியத்தின் காரணமாக இப்படிப்பட்ட நிகழ்வு நடந்திருக்குது. 13ஆம் தேதியிலிருந்து 16ஆம் தேதி வரை தொடர்ந்து மாணவனுடைய பெற்றோர்கள் தொலைக்காட்சியின் வழியாக பேட்டி அளித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள். ஒரு கொந்தளிப்பான சூழ்நிலை, ஒரு பதட்டமான சூழ்நிலை அங்கே நிலவிக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. இதையெல்லாம் இந்த விடிய அரசு உளவுத்துறையின் மூலமாக தகவல்களை சேகரித்து முன்னெச்சரிக்கை நடவடிக்கை எடுக்கப்பட்டிருந்தால் இந்த வன்முறையை தவிர்த்திருக்கலாம். உளவுத்துறை செயலற்று விட்டது.
Let's open this up to our guests joining us on this broadcast this evening. We have Uma Anandan, BJP Councillor, with us also. Gokul Chandran, political analyst, is with us on this broadcast. Good evening to the both of you. Mr. Chandran, my first question would be to you. We heard the Chief Minister's reaction and emotional appeal being sent out there, an assurance suggesting that a detailed, thorough investigation will take place. But the larger question remains, Mr. Chandran, from 13th of July to the 17th of July, the family did in fact, make repeated pleas on something going wrong, and there was a clear intel failure, as is being suggested by the AIDMK as well.
Yeah, good evening. It's a very unfortunate incident that a young girl has lost her life. We don't know the reason. The police will be finding out the reason very soon. But before that, within 3 days, the police also will take the time. 3 days is very less for a police to find out a young girl dying in a mysterious circumstance. If it is a death or a suicide or who are involved in it, to find all this, the police may take some time. Before that, there was a conspiracy which has been viewed out, and around 2,000 people gathering and vandalizing the school. This seems to be a very well-planned attack. I'm not sure if the intelligence has failed, but the protesters have overcome the intelligence and they have ransacked the school. And for supporting one student, they have almost they have demolished the future of around 3,000 students. The 2,000 people, for asking justice for one girl, they have brought 3,000 students into the streets. That's what has happened actually. The intelligence failure and everything we can discuss later. But then this incident, as the Chief Minister has clearly pointed out, it will be thoroughly investigated. The postmortem is being redone. The case has been transferred to CB-CID.
Can we leave it for later? We had 2,000 people on the streets protesting and in a violent manner. School buses were set on fire. Police vans were vandalized and set on fire.
Yeah, again, the incident took place on Sunday, and today around 300 people have been arrested for that rioting.
Surely, yes, action is being taken. More than 200 arrests have been made. In fact, action has been taken against the top people in the school administration as well. But I'd like Ms. Uma Anandan to come in. Madam, don't you feel that the police officials, the state government could have preempted this, prevented this? 2,000 people running on a rampage, setting buses and vehicles on fire?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes. I would like to first convey my feelings to the parents. It is very tragic to lose a child under normal circumstances, natural death itself. But deaths like these, mysterious circumstances and unnatural deaths, adds all the more to the heaviness of the issue. As a parent, I would like to empathize with them. But as you told, it is definitely a part of the intel failure. They said the first 3 days was very peaceful. So on the fourth day...
Ma'am, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. We have Mr. Priyank, the NCPCR chief, once again with us on the phone line. We couldn't get to him earlier on. Priyank, I was meaning to ask you that, if we go by what the NCPCR did on ground in the Lavanya case, you'd sent a team across that was monitoring the situation on ground. You'd taken suo motu cognizance of the case. Can we expect the NCPCR to act in a similar way here?
We have taken cognizance, even intimate whatever action we are taking on it. We are examining the case. We have been informed that several similar types of incident occurred previously also in this institution. So we are collecting relevant information. we will definitely take action and we will intimate you whatever action we will take.
What do you make of what the family is alleging? The family is saying this is a cover-up. There is something not quite adding up. So much so that the mother of the girl here, of the victim, has gone on to say that when she reached the spot where she fell to death, she did not find any bloodstains. In fact, there were bloodstains 10 meters away from where the body was eventually found. What do you make of, the incident as it unfolded and the details that are being put out by the family?
We are, as of now, I can share limited information with you, and whatever I can say that we are watching the situation and we will definitely take strict action.
All right, so you're assuring us here on Times Now that the NCPCR will take strictest action possible and will follow this up very closely. As for the police, Priyank, the principal has been arrested, so has the secretary. Action is being taken. There was a lot of violence that was witnessed on Sunday. Unfortunately, more than 200 arrests have been made there, but we saw 2,000 strong force. Yeah, more than 2,000 people were on the streets setting buses on fire, and some of them were minors as well.
See, we have been informed that similar incident occurred in the same institution earlier also.
All right, seem to have lost that line, but that's the NCPCR chief. A Times Now exclusive as far as the ongoing investigations are concerned. I believe we have Mr. Priyank back with us. All right, seem to have lost that line, unfortunately. But yes, the NCPCR has taken cognizance in this particular case, monitoring the situation very, very closely. I'll once again go back to our guests and maybe we can reconnect with Priyank later in this news bulletin. Ms. Uma Anandan, you were making a point. Go ahead. What would you say to the kind of probe that has gone underway? Do you think timely action has been taken? Arrests have been made, but they have been made after a few days of when the incident first took place. The tragic incident, a shocking incident at that.
Yes, definitely there has been a delay, but one thing I would like to stress there are a lot of loose ends lying around. A lot of unanswered questions are there. I think there is the presence of two groups yesterday in the crowd is very disturbing. I believe they are the cause for the entire violence. Why, when in Tirunelveli or Salem or such incidents, no such violence happened. But why this violent reaction here? It is the presence of two questionable groups. And when 100 people gather itself, the police become alert. How did they allow 2,000 people to gather? And the most disturbing thing is, as you told when I saw the visuals, youngsters who are hardly in their late teens and early 20s, taking a tractor, damaging the school bus, putting it on fire, not knowing about the consequences of their act. FIR and their entire future is ruined. Have they not thought about it? Have they been brainwashed to take to this violence by some vested interest? All these questions will have to be answered to put an end to such future incidents.
Yes, and 2,000 is not a small number. Mr. Chandran, how did this kind of a mobilization take place? How did the police or anyone on ground did not encounter any sort of an intel on this?
Yeah.
It's a big number.
For first time I agree with Mrs. Uma Anandan. Usually we don't agree. See, the point she made about few groups which had gathered, that is a very significant point here. So they had very well planned this through WhatsApp and all other groups, and somehow, I partially agree there was a failure from intelligence failure from the police. I am not denying that. But then this type of mobilization, it is very bad for the future of Tamil Nadu, and not only Tamil Nadu, for the nation. So this should be a lesson to any government or any police force to prevent any such incidents in future. And as Umaka rightly pointed out, some action, the strict action should be taken against this protester, because see, one side that innocent girl and her parents, the justice needs to be done to them, but this scenario,
Absolutely.
the violent scenario is much
One can't
more
even begin
serious,
to imagine what the family is going through. A small question before I let both of you go. We're running out of time. But Mr. Chandran, you know, there is also an allegation by the mother in this case that similar instances have taken place in the very same school. She's gone on to say that this has happened 7 times in the past. Now, with this kind of an allegation, we don't know if it's true or not. But if it were to be true, if there was a little bit of truth to what has been claimed or alleged by the mother, isn't the state government supposed to be monitoring this very, very closely? A quick answer, then I'm going to have to move on.
Yeah, it is just an allegation. So there is no concrete proof of what the mother has alleged. Because the mother, because she was so sad and she was upset, she was telling many type of things. And
all right.
Yeah, so we cannot take that.
All right, so let's wait and watch. Investigations are underway. The Chief Minister has promised strictest of action, and so has the Tamil Nadu Education Minister. I appreciate both of you. Uma Anandan, BJP Councillor, and also Gokul Chandran. Thank you both of you for taking out your time and speaking to us on a very important story where investigations are still underway. Moving on.